Hello and welcome to my spoiler review of Shang Chi, a movie where a heck of a lot happens. So I decided the best way to organize this breakdown is to first go through all the fight sequences. I love how many fight sequences this movie has. Remember Steven Soderbergh? He told that story about seeing a man in his mid to late 30s in the airport, Hollywood's target audience, watching one of these comic book movies and fast forwarding from action sequence to action sequence. And instead of Steven Soderbergh saying, I guess that's how you do it, he instead criticized that man for watching the movie that way. Doesn't he realize that's not the first time that guy watched it? And that's what people want out of these movies. And Shang-Chi, Destin Daniel Cretton very cleverly understood the assignment while also, I think, delivering a great story in addition. So great. Love the fight sequences. And then we'll go character by character, just to talk about some of the character points. But because the character development is woven into the fights, we'll be addressing that a little bit too. As for the end credit scenes, so good. I'll touch on them a little bit here and there when they come up, but as usual, they're gonna get their own videos. Oh boy! All right, so fight scenes. We start off with Wenwu versus Jiang Li. Now, from the trailers, I had some concern that this fight, or fights, we weren't sure at that point, would be lame. But I gotta tell you, I liked them a lot. I thought the moving forest was really cool. I kind of got an inkling. I didn't know the movie was going to be real. I didn't make up my mind about the movie, as I said in my non-spoiler review, until the bus scene. But when that moving forest of bamboo came about, which created like this, moving, a maze that was alive. But when you first see Wenwu standing on the side of the cliff outside the forest, I was like, that's a pretty nice shot for a comic book movie. And it was just the beginning of many wonderful shots in this film. So I loved that. I loved the forest. I loved the way it was shown when you were inside it. They showed you from above. I loved when the water map showed it a little bit later. That's good stuff. Now, the moving forest also reminded me a lot. This whole sequence is very Ang Lee, but also Miyazaki. I really think they got a lot of great Asian cinema representation here. The number of boxes that Destin Daniel Cretton was able to check are incredible. Now, I thought the fight was very romantic. I'm not surprised they fell in love dancing like that. And I also loved the callback to Shang-Chi's later fight with his father, where he takes his mother's place, where Wenwu's looking up and she's looking down like, I can't believe you think that you might win this fight. And his son had the same calm look on his face, proving very much that he was his mother's son. I thought that was a callback I didn't expect, and it was very effective. And then also the martial arts style of his mother, Jiang Li, was very believable, and that it worked against the 10 rings, and that she didn't take the 10 rings on, but instead redirected them, just like you would water or wind, and that's why she used the elements in her martial arts. A little Avatar, The Last Airbender, but I'll allow it. It worked very well, and I think it was a nice message about life too, even beyond a comic book movie, about how instead of trying to stop something in its tracks, to instead bend it to your will and to your need. I thought, to go to work instead, use its own momentum against it. That was good stuff. I was really impressed. All right, so the next fight scene was the bus fight scene. Again, that's the scene where I fell in love with this movie. Also, shout out to Awkwafina visiting her family, but we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. But anyway, the Jackie Chan-inspired bus scene was phenomenal. It was much longer than I expected. Marvel does itself a disservice. Sometimes when they show trailers and even clips of a movie, they will cut down the film to not give anything away, but therefore it makes it look very disjointed and not as compelling as it is in the final version. So I understand why they do that, but it often leads to us going to see a movie and being like, wow, that worked out so much better than I thought it would. I guess we should just accept that at that point, but still, the bus scene was so much better, it was a joy to behold. It was so long. I was like, wow, this bus scene's still going. It had so much comedy in it, from the Jackie Chan style martial arts to the fabulous use of Zach Cherry live streaming the fight. And the callback to that is how Shang-Chi was known when he shows up at the Fight Club in China. But my favorite line by far, because I relate, it's just so funny. when Zach Cherry's character goes, I know a little martial arts myself, so I'm going to be rating this fight as we go along. I wish they'd had some of his commentary. That should be a great extras on the Blu-ray, where Zach Cherry's character does his voiceover of the fight. I was like, I'd watch that guy's videos. I thought he was great. I wondered for a moment if it was an actual, live streamer, but it's an actor playing one. But he did a very good job. And also flawless use of VFX in and out of the bus. Shang-Chi was hanging out a window. He was jumping on top of the bus, and I believed it every second. Stuff with Razor Fist. Really, really well done. Love that sequence again. That's the scene where I fell in love with the movie. Then the Fight Club and then the outside of the building. I'm combining these into one thing because the Fight Club stuff was underwhelming. We didn't really see any great matchups. Wong and Abomination was not only a short fight, but we discovered a fixed fight, although I did think that was amusing. But I did like, John John's brief appearance. He was very funny, and I thought that Xialing, being the owner of the club, was great. And I'm glad that they have the end credit scene that they do, which shows her kind of becoming a villain. And of course, we're going to talk about that in its own video. But I thought that was a really good seed that was planted here. And I love when they took the elevator out and left Katy and Shang-Chi behind. I thought that was really well done. And John waved to them. He's like, see ya. And I was like, that's great stuff. I did like it was funny when he told Shang-Chi to take his shirt off. And then Katy was like, hello there. I can't tell if they're a romantic couple or not. I mean, there are so many hints at it. I think that they're supposed to eventually be one. I'm not sure. I mean, it would be cool if they just were friends, but I don't know. I kind of like them as a couple, to be honest with you. All right. So anyway, then when the 10 Rings showed up and the Death Dealer and his men, that was great. Even the James Bond ripoff style silhouette fight, the way, the energy, the music, the way this fight not only kept going, but like the bus fight, found new levels to work on, really was a joy to watch. And when they were outside the building, very Harold Lloyd-like, another reference, which was fantastic. I thought when Awkwafina was dangling from that bamboo, the construction pole, that was great. It was so well done. I got so nervous for her. I thought that it was very realistic. I just thought it was really well done. I thought that was great. And the way that Xialing rescued her, I thought that was funny. She's like, I just wanted to teach my brother a lesson. I was like, yeah, Xialing. Great energy. Love that. Then Shang-Chi versus Wenwu. In many ways, and that's why I like it so much, I think that Wenwu was right when he told his son that he was disappointed in him, that he did absolutely nothing to try and save his mother and he just watched. I was like, there's no lie there. I mean, Shang-Chi was just a child, of course, at that point, but not that little. He wasn't a baby. I mean, I can't believe they didn't have any bodyguards. I mean, you don't just quit being a crime lord. I don't know what Wenwu was thinking. But it was surprising. They didn't have like a safe room. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe there's a conversation about honor, maybe. I mean, his mother was such a wonderful, stand-up person. I don't know if she would have done that. I would have done it, but I guess I'm a little bit more like Wenwu. But anyway, I thought that was good, and I thought it was fascinating, and I liked that they did that Shang-Chi did kill his mother's killer, right? I thought that was very sophisticated and complex. I'm glad that a Disney Marvel movie went there. I wish we could have seen it. Seeing is believing. It's show don't tell in entertainment, in visual entertainment. But at the same time, I do appreciate this is a Disney family movie, and they couldn't go that far. So the fact that they went as far as they could, I really, really appreciate it. I think that very realistic, very complex. It really does show that Shang-Chi does come from the world of his father, and he bears the scars of that. That's just great. So I love that. Love it, love it, love it. Then, of course, the fight with the 10 rings. Wenwu using them versus how Shang-Chi uses them was so great to see. So powerful. They came up with so many different ways to use these rings. I couldn't believe it. The way Wenwu was able to propel himself over that huge giant lake, I couldn't believe it. I was like, that's so amazing. And then the way he was able to use it to pound. But then when Shang-Chi took it over and he was able to have them kind of like rotate around him, I was like, oh my God. And he came out of the smoke with the glowing gold rings. I was like, this guy's going to be a superstar in the MCU. Whenever he shows up, you're going to know it's on. And he was just so incredibly powerful. Because he was using his mother's powers, his mother's powers to use the rings. And so he became even more powerful than his father. So I just couldn't believe how great that was. that's to me when Shang-Chi as a character really came into focus. And then this is when I cried, when Wenwu sacrificed himself and he wouldn't break contact with his son's eyes. Wow, that was just, I love that they still had a close bond. I love that he sacrificed himself to save his son and that he'd lived so many lifetimes. I loved when he said to that other person, I'm older than you, and Tony Leung, of course, looked younger. But I believed Tony Leung when he said it. But that was just, he'd lived so long and he could have lived longer. But that's true love, that he didn't want anything to happen to his son. And he was just driven by trying to find his wife. So I thought it was quite tragic. And I couldn't believe he actually died. I was like, did you really kill off Tony Leung? But they did. I guess they only got him for one movie. It's like Cate Blanchett. They're like, just be happy we got this amazing actor for one movie in a Marvel movie. But, I just adored it. I just absolutely adored it. So incredibly moving. And that was all Tony Leung. He just totally sold it. I even could see the moment that he died. And wow. All right, so... Whew. All right, so in Tao Lo versus the Soul Eaters. I thought Tao Lo was pretty nice. I was like, I see a future theme park land in the making. I'd like to explore more of Tao Lo, and I thought all the creatures were really well designed. I thought they were very interesting, and they very much felt authentic to Asian culture and particularly Chinese culture. Very Miyazaki, who of course is Japan, so Asian culture overall. I don't know why those things had no faces, but I came to love that little guy. But anyway, the Soul Eaters I thought were incredibly disturbing. So good job. I was like, this is genuinely disturbing. A lot of CGI, but to the credit of this movie, very good CGI. I never felt that they crossed over into bad CGI. And boy, they were really tempting fate with having so much to do. But I liked Fang Foom being reimagined as the Great Protector. I was like, okay, cool. I liked when he wore pants. That was kind of fun. But this, of course, was more majestic and respectful. It reminded me, this end sequence, a lot of Raya and the Last Dragon. Got dragons over a body of water, doing a lot of swirlies. I was like, very similar. Awkwafina also was there as well. But I loved that movie too. So I like the end sequence a lot, and I'm glad that there were some sacrifices. Like when they killed the Death Dealer, you were like, these things are legit. I mean, Razor Fist noticed it. I liked it, and he was like, okay, let's work together. I thought that was great. And I did like the dragon scales as something going forward, as something in the MCU. I totally believe that they were that effective. I was like, yeah. And that makes Shang-Chi's costume even cooler because it's made out of dragon scales. And it's red and white. That's why Xialing has white, because you could see when you saw the Great Protector, you could see he was red and white. So, and having it on weapons, having it on clothes, it was really neat. I like this. I think it's a great addition to the MCU. And it was also a very long sequence. This sequence went on for a very long time. I feel that we ate well. All right, let's talk characters. And I'd love, by the way, to hear, of course, as always, your thoughts on all this down below. All right, so Shang-Chi. Weaker lead than Marvel usually has. As I said, I'd put him at around Brie Larson level. And, I think Brie Larson does a fine job, too. And I thought it was funny that she showed up in the end credit sequence because, of course, she's been in every major movie from Destin Daniel Cretton, and I'm sure helped get him this job. So it was nice that she showed up. But I do think that Simu Liu has a very Marvel vibe. I think he fits very well with the MCU and very well with Disney. I think he's well cast in that regard. So when he shows up, I think when he doesn't have the 10 rings, when he has the 10 rings, he's super boss level. But when he doesn't have the 10 rings, you're like, oh, Shang-Chi, where are all your friends? I love the world of Shang-Chi. So to me, that reminded me, well, Chadwick Boseman had more presence, but, also the world of Black Panther is very much, it's not just the character. I think I feel the world of Black Panther and Shang-Chi more than I do Asgard, like with Thor. I don't really have a good feeling for Asgard, even after all the movies they've made. Maybe Taika Waititi can fix that well, Asgard's gone now, but the Asgard people, I still don't feel it very much it's its own thing yet. So anyway, back to Shang-Chi. Very strong martial arts, in my opinion. I know some of you who are martial arts experts are like, these moves are weak. And I know that Simu Liu just learned them. He was going around telling everybody that he learned martial arts pretty much just for this movie. But I bought it. I thought he did a nice job. And I thought he did a very nice job with his movements when he was doing the Tao Lo, swirly swipes. I was like, that looks beautiful. I'm liking this ballet martial arts dance. And I wonder if he's now immortal because he has the 10 rings. His father lived for so long. So we have another, like Captain Marvel, another immortal character. So I think that's pretty interesting. All right, now for Katy. I loved her in this. Awkwafina, wow, so good in this movie. I fell in love with her character when the scene when Shang-Chi went to pick her up at her home and we saw her family all around the breakfast table. I particularly loved her grandmother, and I loved when her grandmother said, "When are you guys going to get married?" I thought that was so great, and I thought the vibe was perfect. Just absolutely perfect. And it's so nice. I don't know for sure if they're love interests or not, but just too many hints were dropped in my opinion. But I feel that it's nice to have a love interest who doesn't disappear for large parts of the movie. Like, I feel bad that Gwyneth Paltrow's Pepper Potts never really got to stick around, particularly when she just killed it as Rescue in Endgame. At least they got that one, speaking of a dance, that one swirl. That was beautiful. But I love Pepper Potts. I thought Gwyneth Paltrow did a fantastic job in that role, and I wish she'd had more screen time throughout the year. So I'm still happy to see that Katy was around all the time. Although I don't know how they're going to keep her around all the time going forward because she doesn't have any powers. I mean, she has a bow and arrow. I would like, we'll talk about this more again with the end credit videos, but when they go to find that beacon from whatever the rings is emitting, I hope they find another set for Katy. That's what I'd like to see, quite frankly. I liked the commentary about her being so talented and smart, but just too scared to actually pursue anything. I thought that was really great, particularly with a lot of people today. I think we all know people like that, and maybe sometimes we're like that a little bit ourselves. I thought that was great. I liked the focus through her character on San Francisco's Asian community, from the restaurant that they had that dinner at with friends to karaoke. I thought that was really nice. I thought and it was really well done. It was not only a nice thing to do, but it was so well done. I mean, I really felt part of that community for those scenes. And I love the way Awkwafina just lit up the screen. And I think the best example of that is, again, in the end credit sequence, when they do that callback and Shang-Chi is like, well, we could go get some rest, after such a long day, or, because he's talking about going to do karaoke, and the way that Awkwafina, she just totally steals focus. She's so good when she reacts, and she's just so delighted about what he means. That to me, in a nutshell, is what's so great about her performance in this movie. She's just so funny, but also plays such a wonderful person. It really is to me like Ant-Man and the Wasp, only he's Evangeline Lilly again, and she's Paul Rudd. And I think that's actually a really good comparison. I wish the Wasp had as much to do as Shang-Chi does. So hopefully in the third movie, finally. So fantastic. Love Katy. Fabulous character, and so, again, so great to see a love interest in one of these movies be around the whole time. It was more like, say like Marion in Indiana Jones. But, again, they'd switch them out every movie, which was so disappointing. So I hope, Katy sticks around movie to movie, right? And I'm sure she will, because she's Awkwafina. All right, Wenwu, a.k.a. Tony Leung. He's playing Ra's al Ghul, basically, and he did a great job, right? I mean, you really understood where he's coming from throughout the movie. Tony Leung, both through the dialogue, but also just through his acting, made his character real. It was, again, like I said in my non-spoiler review, very Michael Corleone, very Godfather. I mean, he was a character that you not only could understand, but were, I think, rooting for. And he wanted to change, but he just found that the world wouldn't let him. And I thought that was also very realistic. He was great. And I liked the 10 Rings being depicted as a very sophisticated, realistic organization. I also liked him saying about America was scared of an orange with the Mandarin backstory. I thought he did a nice job there. But it was great. I loved his lair. I loved the garage. I loved everything about it. I just thought it was just so well realized. And again, we only saw him for one movie, but yet when his character died, it really hit me. So that is an incredible testament to his acting ability. All right, next up, Xialing, his daughter, and Shang-Chi's sister. I love that Shang-Chi had a sister. I thought that was really nice. And I think that, it was interesting to see that while Shang-Chi hates what his father created, Xialing actually admires it and wants to know why she can't be the heir apparent, and actually ends up being it. We're going to talk more about her in the end credit scene video. But just here I want to touch on, I thought that it was really representative of the fact that China and its culture has so long favored sons over daughters, which I thought that was reflected here, which is important. And I thought that even though she and her brother turned out to be very different people, there was still real love between them. And that will be very interesting to see moving forward as they take such different paths, that they still are not only family, but they still too genuinely care for each other. So that's going to complicate their interactions going forward, which I'm pretty excited about. All right, then Ben Kingsley. So funny. I mean, we all knew Ben Kingsley was funny, but this is like, I think, the funniest he's ever been. And I couldn't believe, and I was so overjoyed that he stuck around for the whole second half of the movie. Maybe it was the last third, but he was in a really decent chunk of the movie. And that Planet of the Apes monologue, oh my God, that was so funny. And it could have been cringe, but he pulled it off beautifully. And he made, instead of making Trevor Slattery seem stupid, well, I mean, he's a little stupid, but you still thought he was just wonderful. You weren't like, oh, what an idiot. He could have gone full Rose Nyland. I've been watching Golden Girls during the pandemic. It's like an escape for me. I really like it, because I don't cover anything with Golden Girls, so I can just turn my brain off. I mean, I've worked my way through all the sitcoms, and I'm on Golden Girls, and I've just been enjoying it. So he could have gone full Rose Nyland, where everyone in the car and everyone in the audience was like, so stupid. But he just captured my heart when he just said that thing about that the apes were such good actors instead of realizing that there were people in the suits. It was amazing. And I thought it was hilarious when he played dead in Tenlo, when he told that other Talo, when he told that other creature, he was like, play dead like me. I mean, how many times have we seen movies and been like, you should do that? And so it was great to see his character do that. I believe Key and Peele even did a comedy sketch about that themselves, but that was just fantastic. I thought that was funny. I hope he sticks around. He was in the end sequence, the end credit scene with the 10 rings. I mean, wow. Xialing has quite the entourage with John and Trevor Slattery. I mean, it's a party over there for sure. And then finally, Michelle Yeoh, who of course is a legend, but I didn't actually think she had that much to do here. I mean, she looked amazing. She looked fantastic. Her braid, so luxurious. And she had a real regal quality about her, just like the actress who played her sister, Shang-Chi's mother, Fala Chen. But again, as I said, nothing really to do, a bit of a boring role, but she delivered great exposition. I mean, if you have to deliver some exposition, Michelle Yeoh is a great person to do it. And I loved that intricate wood carving that told the story of Ta Lo. It reminded me of Chinese ivory carvings, which I don't think they can do anymore because, of course, ivory is sourced from, very bad ways. But those carvings from China are just absolutely stunning if you have ever seen them. My parents had one when I was growing up, a very small one that I always used to love. It was very small, but it was so beautiful. I used to just stare at it for hours and imagine things that could happen in that world. I love that stuff. So I was like, I gotta say, when they had that sequence, I was like, is this a real wood carving? I mean, I have to tell you, I would suspect it's CGI. But I would love it if it actually existed. I mean, why pay to carve that, quite frankly, unfortunately? But I like to think, part of me, that it's real. I mean, I'd be like, carve it. We'll pick it up and put it in a theme park. So, I mean, although behind some glass. Because I see some of the damage that gets done to theme park stuff. But it was just really stunning. And also, I would imagine they're going to visit Ta Lo in some sequels. So as I said in my non-spoiler review, I fell in love with the world of Shang-Chi, and I think that it will be a great corner of the MCU. Plus, I think these characters interact already very well with the rest of the MCU, as they do in that first end credit sequence. I'm excited. This is going to be great. I think just like when we got excited when the Dora Milaje showed up in Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think this is going to be the case going forward. And I am very much looking forward to it. Just really one of Marvel's best movies. I just can't believe how good it is. And again, it proves that you can tell an amazing, knock it out of the park story in a little over 2 hours. And that while we love the Marvel Disney Plus shows, you don't need the 6 hours to do a great job. It can still be done in a little over 2. But I just love this. And I look forward to many more hours of the world of Shang-Chi. So stay tuned for those end credit videos and a little something extra. Share your thoughts down below. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.